Mientras celebrando en tu cuarto, sabe agridulce como el impacto. Baby, it's a party. Put your drinks up. 2 shots to the heart now. Up, so we'll do it your way. Lo hago por ti because I'm faded. Anyway. Lo hago por ti. La culpa en tus labios fue lo que sentía. Lo hago por ti. Las vibras no se acaban aquí, mi amor. Lo hago por ti, la culpa en tus labios fue lo que sentía. Lo hago por ti, las vibras no se acaban aquí, mi amor. Loco como pasa el tiempo, como un blow me gusta cuando quema lento. Pero vamos a acelerar demasiado más.
Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys enjoyed that small montage. I'm Hex. We're finally going to be going over our updated StamPlar build for the Gold Road Chapter Update 42 patch. What a mouthful. Let's just say we are using a lot of scribing skills on this class, and one of them just gives StamPlar so much flexibility. So don't worry if you don't have scribing, don't worry, I go over many alternatives if you don't have scribing. So don't worry, I always got your back on that. So let's go over StamPlar. I feel StamPlar is honestly, I would say it's probably A tier right now. Like I would say StamPlar is superior over Magplar. Like with this build, I was having a blast. I was doing so much damage to people. My survivability was amazing. Plus, my damage was just better than Mag, because typically we are doing a lot of physical damage, and typically players have way less physical resist than they do spell resist. On my Magplar, I had like 34k spell resist and like 26k physical resist. What's going to do more damage, magical or physical damage, huh? It pretty much says itself right there. So not only does this build come with some of the highest damage you can see, we have over 14k penetration before anything. That's before major and minor breach. Add that. That's basically 23k armor shot on the target before Battlelurks. If we add Battlelurks, we can be pushing over 34k penetration on this build, which is just insane. Now you may be saying, Hex, that's overpenning. Aren't you overpenning? In PvP, there's no such thing as overpenning. The closer I get your armor to 0, the more damage I do, and the more you're gonna get bursted by that 14k Donnie. It's gonna happen. Not only that, it comes with some of the best tankiness and best survivability out there. But how do we get the strong build? In order, stick around to the end and I'll go over exactly how. But before we get started, if you guys hit the like, subscribe button, it really goes a long way. Greatly do appreciate it. Also follow me on my Twitch, where all this raw gameplay is from. Go over there. I do answer all your questions over my Twitch. I try to answer them down in the comments, but with the way I try to word it and see if you guys understand, that's where it kind of gets lost. Also, I have opened up some memberships, which support me financially, where you guys can get build videos early and vote for the first video every month. Go over there. It really does help me out a lot. But with enough of that mouthful, let's jab our way into the build. Alright, so let's go over the skills now. These tooltips might not look as high, but you have to realize we are pushing the limit of penetration. I mean, just standing here, no buffs, we're at 14.1k penetration. Yeah, that's before our Battlelurks, and that's before minor and major breach. Alright, so first skill we do run the beauty that is Extended Ritual. This is one of the best skills in the entire game. The fact that it is an on-demand purify. You can remove up to 5 negative effects on you, and how rough Cyrodiil is, how rough PvP is. This is a godsend. This is a full godsend. Like being able to remove the minor breach, major breach, all the Elisa's nonsense on you, just crazy. Plus being able to remove curses off people. Like you also put a ring around that also heals you every second. Also procs minor mending while within the ring and 4 seconds after you leave the ring, which is kind of dumb. Just a crack skill over entirely. Plus you also put a ring that allies can heal from the ring, plus they can purify themselves with the synergy that also burst heals them and removes all negative effects. So if you have someone with 100 negative effects and they cast a skill, it removes every single little one of them. So this is a great skill. Please do not remove the skill. This is a full godsend. Next skill is, so this is kind of your flex spot. I do run Living Dark since I like to fight super outnumbered. I like to fight 1vx, 2vx. Very rarely do I go any more than 2 people in my group. This is a full godsend. This basically, you basically get a 2.3k heal every half second. Anytime you take direct damage with a half second cooldown. So basically you can get, let's buff it up fully actually. Wow, almost a 2500 heal. This is stronger than a Vigor Tick. You basically get a double, like a Vigor Tick every half second. This can proc every half second. So you can basically heal for 5k every second. And with the amount of people zerging you over, especially me, the amount of people who chase me down, hard focus me, I'm basically proccing this on full cooldown. Plus, you also reduce the enemy movement speed by 40% for 3 seconds. So if you are getting chased while you're kiting around, you actually snare them, which is actually very nice. And most people won't realize they're snared. Now the thing is, this does have a half a second cooldown and it only works on direct damage attacks. So basically light attacks, any dots like burning or any of that won't affect this, but still, like, you're basically going to be proccing this on cooldown if you're getting zerged over. Now, if you don't need the skill or you don't really get as hard focus as I do, you could go Power of the Light. Power of the Light is a very, very powerful skill. So basically, when you cast the skill, you do initial damage, plus you put basically like a curse on them. That does 5k damage after it explodes, which can be tripled if you do enough damage to them. I think you have to do 15k damage to them. I don't know how it works, to be honest, but just do enough damage and you can triple the burst. I don't know, it's just like a pseudo burst. Like, it's not like a shocks where you can just cast it, set and forget. It's not like a curse that you can set and forget and goes off twice and does true damage because you can't block it. It's not like a blasties that does the damage initially. No, you have to build it up, which kind of sucks. Sometimes, like, I wish I can cast a skill, go around, heal up, and right before it goes off, I drop a Donnie, everything goes off, and boom. Nah, you have to build it up. The one thing that does save it a little bit, you do put Sundered on the target, putting a minor breach, reducing their armor by almost 3k. Plus, you, the caster, if I cast a skill, I get 100 weapon and spell damage for 4 seconds. And you put Sundered every time it goes off. So, initially when you cast it on them, and when it explodes again. So, there is a 2-second downtime if you do wait the full 6 seconds, which is kind of dumb. So, come on now. But other than that, really good skill. Plus, it's dirt cheap. Look at that. 1243 stamina with no stamina reduced cost. Like, and a stage 3 vamp. Like, that's pretty good. Next skill is the cheese that is Radiant Glory. This is perhaps one of the cheesiest executes in the entire game. Basically, the lower health they are, below 50% health, the harder you hit, and this thing is undodgeable. This thing, you cannot dodge it. If you're at 10 HP and you roll dodge and someone casts this, you're dead. Crits, you're going to get crit for like 8 to 14k. It's going to happen. It's a double-edged sword. While this is great for slaying pugs, because most people, when you drop a Dawnbreaker, people's first instinct is to break CC and roll dodge. Most snipers will just cloak, and yes, you can cloak this ability, which is the dumbest thing ever too. But anyways, story for another day. You deal up to 480% more damage based on their level of missing health, so the threshold should be around 30% HP. Obviously, if you hit someone at like 5% HP, you're gonna hit them for like 12 to 18k sometimes. Like, it's crazy. The fact that you can't, so the way to counter this skill is you have to either block it or bash it, which might seem good. Obviously, in a 1v1 scenario, you can just bash it or block it. But when you're getting zerged over and you have 3 people casting this skill while you're at full health, and if you get CC'd by a gank blade and you drop to 30% health, they're all going to hit you at once and it's all going to delete you. So the thing is too, you also restore 480 Magicka per tick, which is kind of dumb. And you also heal for 19% of the damage done, which, let's go up. 20% of the damage done, you heal. So if you hit someone for a 12k tick of this, you're healing for what, like 2400? Kind of dumb to think about. Like, double-edged sword. Don't go the other morph. The other morph would only increase your damage by like 2%, and I'm rounding it up, like total 2% damage. I know it says 20%, but it's 20% additive, not multiplicative. And next skill is our first scribing skill. That is Daisy Knife, and this is a very powerful skill right here. So basically, you could run Binding Javelin. I think that's what I ran, the Javelin skill that's unblockable and it does a lot of damage and it stuns them. I swapped it out for this because the other one, the Templar one, the Binding Javelin, all it did was just stun them. That's pretty much all it did, and it went through block, which was nice. Going through block was nice, but that's pretty much it. You throw the blade out and it stuns the target, hits the target, and after half a second, it will bounce back to you and it will hit any Joe Bobs. What do I mean by that? So like, let's say I throw my Daisy Knife at somebody, and it hits Joe Bob number 1, and then Joe Bob number 2, 3, 4, 5, however many Joe Bobs go in between me and that target, they will actually all get stunned and all get debuffed. So yeah, that's just very powerful. So let's go over what we put. So we did put a stun, it does physical damage, and it does cost stamina, which is very nice on the build. Now the middle one, I put enemies take 8% bonus damage from all martial attacks for 5 seconds. What does that mean? Physical, disease, poison, and bleed damage all do 8% bonus damage on that target for 5 seconds. Our dual light attacks, our Dawnbreaker, our biting jabs. This also affects our teammates. So if someone gets hit by a Dawnbreaker, one of our teammates, this also does affect Tarnish Nightmare. Tarnish Nightmare, if you do run that set, you can actually do 8% bonus damage on the target, which is just kind of nuts to think about. And this also affects your teammates too. So if a teammate's running, like, let's say another stamp, let's say you're playing with another teammate that also has Dawnbreaker, and he drops the Dawnbreaker, he's also doing 8% bonus damage on that target, which is kind of insane to think about. And the last one we do run is grant you Major Savagery and Prophecy for 20 seconds. Yes. So this is what I ran this skill. Not only do I get a stun, I mark you to take more damage. Plus, I also get 12% weapon and spell crit for 20 seconds. Now, next patch, this is looking like it's going down to 10 seconds. Thus, you can't be doing this, bro. This game is way too fast-paced to last only 10 seconds. Why is it that Nightblade and DKs permanently have weapon and spell crate on both bars? Why is that, huh? Only those classes can have that? Yeah, that sounds lovely, right? But either way, besides that, besides a little rant, like, this is basically what makes it, because before, if you don't run this skill, you have to run Binding Javelin, and then you have to run Chemo Hunter, and that's 2 skills, and now I have to drop Living Dark, which is my go-to skill. I need this skill, especially how hard I get focused. Now, there are a few things you can go, let's say, so this skill is from the Scribing skill from Traveling Knife. This is the dual wield one, but basically stun, and there are a few alternatives. You could run Assassin's Misery. This is actually a very good sleeper. Whenever you use that blade, you basically get you basically double your chances of applying status effects. The status effects are like Minor Breach from jabs, and each jab hit can proc this. So not only are you doing bonus damage from the status effect, you're also putting negative effects on them like Minor Breach. You're also getting 100 weapon and spell damage. That also doesn't include our other skills like Radiant can also proc Minor Lifesteal, and we have a Poison enchant here, and it's just a lot of things that can go off at once, and it can actually start shredding people. The next one is a Class Mastery. This one's actually really good. Whenever you cast a skill, you get 1320 armor and 150 weapon and spell damage, which is increased by 50% if you are within your sacred ground. So basically this, or this little ring, you get to increase it by 50%. And that increases it to a little under 2k and 225 weapon and spell damage. Then it's base. That can go up to like 300 spell damage with all the modifiers we have. And the rest, I kind of wouldn't really look out for too much. And our next skill we do run is Biting Jabs. This is basically our spammable. So basically the closest enemy to you takes full damage, and anyone around them takes about like 75% of the damage done, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's basically what this morph is supposed to do. You also reduce enemy movement speed by 40% for half a second. And the main thing is, whenever you activate the skill, whether it all goes off or you just cast it once like that, and I block cancel it, I get 10 seconds of weapon and spell damage. 20% weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds. So that's basically how we get our 20% weapon and spell damage on the build. Now, Zos, if you're hearing me, please, bro, like, come on, guys. Please make this 20 seconds at minimum. If you guys care about PvP, 15 seconds. 10 seconds of PvP is not the way to go anymore. All armor, like, all skills need to last at least 20 seconds at this point. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Please, at least 15 seconds, guys. Come on. Besides the point, let's go over to the next skill. Enough of that little rant. Next skill is Dawnbreaker Smiting. Now, this is our hard-hitting ultimate. Basically, we do 15.6k in a cone in front of us to all enemies. We also stun all targets for 2 seconds, and if they're able to tell the Dawnbreaker, well, that dot's for sure going to put them down. This is hands down the best universal ultimate in the game. Not only do you hit ridiculously hard, you stun targets, plus you get all these beautiful passives. Slayer, increase our weapon spell damage by 3%, beautiful. Banish the Wicked, we get ulti gen anytime we kill an enemy with the fighter's guild ability slotted. So that can be anything, a guard, an NPC, a player. We get 3 extra ulti gen, which is always nice for our battle orcs. Plus, we also get skill tracker. We deal 10% bonus damage to all vampire players in PvP, which basically everyone should be, and next patch everyone probably will still be a vampire. If not, I'm still basically going to be doing true damage to you anyway, so yeah. So not only that, our Daisy Knife skill, the middle one, enemies take 8% more martial damage. Well, guess what? Physical damage is martial damage, so you're not only you're taking basically 18% bonus damage from the passive from the Fighters Guild and from the martial damage. Now, this is where it can get out of hand, and that's where it gets crazy. Now, if you don't want to farm Fighters Guild, please just farm Fighters Guild. Do not run. You could run Crescent Sweep, but Crescent Sweep does magic damage, which is pretty cool. But the thing is, most players typically have way more spell resist. I mean, let's just look at my spell resist in my back bar here. It's not gonna be too crazy, but look at that. I have like almost 1,000 more spell resist on the back bar. If you're fighting a Breton and you hit them with magic ability, yeah, you're not gonna do any damage to them. So that's why I say stick to Dawnbreaker Smiting. On my Breton, I have like 34k. On my Magplar, I have like 34k spell resist and like 20k physical resist. Like, it's crazy. For our back bar, we do run Race Against Time. This is basically our snare immunity that just happens to grab Minor Force and Major Expedition. You cast the skill and you cannot be snared or rooted for 4 seconds. And on top of that, you get Major Expedition, be able to run. No one's going to catch you. The only ones that can catch you are Nightblades, because for some reason they get permanent Minor Expedition, and Sorcerers, because they got Streak. Obviously, that makes sense. The Nightblade one does not make sense. But yeah, I know it's a grind, but Templars don't have any other form of being able to remove snare effect from the class. Now, people might say, oh, what if I purify with Extended Ritual? If you're lucky, maybe. If you're lucky, out of the 15 defects you have on you, maybe you'll purify the snare. And if you do, well, guess what? They're probably just going to reapply the snare on you anyway. So, not the best to do. Plus, you can get rooted, and it's just not. I know it's a grind, but Race Against Time, you really do need to grind it out. I keep saying it like in every build video. Next skill is obviously Restoring Focus. Now, this is how you make an armor buff. This is how you make an armor buff. If it lasts 20 seconds, now I say most armor buffs should last 30 or 25. This is the only one that I justify being 20 seconds. So basically, not only do we cast a skill, we get armor, right? This is armor buff, 6k armor. You also restore 242 stamina every second while the duration is up. And you don't have to be within the ring. So if I cast it here, let's cast a Vigor. Like, I'm outside the ring, and I'm still getting the stamina back. Not only that, you also get a heal while it's up. So like right here, I'm healing 988, which is also tripled if I go within the ring. It's not a full triple because of how additive, like how multipliers work, because of how the math works. It's additive, not multiplicative. It makes sense at the end of the day, but the fact that it basically it's an armor buff that gives you sustain, which is equivalent to almost 500 stamina recovery that can go through block. Like I can cast a skill, I can cast a few vigors, look, and I'm holding block, and I'm still getting my stamina back while I'm holding block. Like, this is how you make an armor buff. I would love it to be 25 seconds, but even then, like, this thing is dirt cheap too. Like 854 stamina. After 4 seconds, you basically net resources from this. So yeah, please don't remove the skill. Please don't run Mighty Trudon. Please don't try to look away. Like, there's no way around it. Even if you are running Oakensoul, you kind of still need Restoring Focus. Like, it's just a crack skill. And next skill is our Resolving Vigor. This is basically our burst hot, heal a lot over 5 seconds, and grants us minor resolve. Look at that, beautiful. And obviously, you can make it blue, which is pretty cool. And also, forgot to mention, our Dawnbreaker can also be purple, which is honestly really nice. And the next skill we do run is Elemental Susceptibility. This is basically how we put Major Breach on a target, getting almost 6k armor on the target for 30 seconds. This morph does, basically, every time you cast a skill and every 7.5 seconds after, you put Burning, Chilled, and Concuss. Burning, a dot, Chilled, initial damage plus minor maim. Concussed, initial damage plus minor vuln. And if you put Chilled with an Ice Staff equipped, which we do have, you also put minor brittle on them, making them take 10% bonus damage from all sources. Your crits, your allies crits, even the third enemy alliance crits will all do bonus damage. Did I mention this skill is free? This skill costs nothing. It's free, and it has one of the longest ranges in the game, 35 meters. Most skills will have 28, maybe 30, maybe 31. This one has 35 for whatever reason. And next skill is our last Scribing skill, and that is Healing Soul. Now, this is one of the best skills in the entire game. Hands down. Alright, I'm gonna have to remove my camera for this so I can show you the difference. So basically, Honor the Dead on the left side heals us for 13.6k, while Healing Soul heals us for 13.2k. So slightly lower. Now, you know, maybe saying, oh, okay. Also, Honor the Dead also gives us that extra mana sustain. Whenever we heal anybody, whether that be us or a teammate, below 75% health, we restore 18% of the cost every 2 seconds. So basically, quick math would indicate about like 700, 750 every 2 seconds, which is really nice, you know, very nice. But that's pretty much all it does. Now, Healing Soul, on the other hand, will heal us for slightly less. But with the things you can add to it, I can put restores 1,000 Magicka and Stamina, which is honestly crazy, being able to restore Stamina, which this is getting nerfed to 600 next patch, unfortunately, which kind of makes sense. That's honestly one of the biggest nerfs that makes sense. Plus, you also get Major Vitality for 10 seconds, increasing healing received and damage shields by 12%. So we have Minor Mending. We also have 20% healing done near keep. And this is Major Vit healing received, so that gets multiplied even stronger. The thing is, this can also be affected to allies. If I heal an ally with this skill, they also get Major Vit. So if I hit a Sork with this, their shields are going to be 12% stronger. Which, yeah, that alone should sell itself. And the thing is, this is from the Scribing skill, so you do need Gold Road, and this is honestly the closest I would say this is pay to win, honestly. So Wield Soul, healing, I think you get it at free, you get it for free. The morphs you can get, like the scripts you can put on it, now those are easy to get. Druid's Resurgence, I think you get in the Wayrest Mages Guild. And also, the Major Vitality you also get near the Mages Guild by Ralka. So that's where you can get these, and that's pretty much it. They're very easy. They're basically free. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to grind anything. You just have to do the main Scribing quest line, have Gold Road, do the main Scribing quest line, and you're set to go. So obviously, if you don't have that, obviously you can just run Honor the Dead. Honor the Dead would be perfectly fine. If you do run Honor the Dead, you will have to change your Mundus to the Serpent. But if you have Gold Road, Healing Soul is one of the most broken skills in the entire game. And our backbar ultimate is obviously Temporal Guards. Just slotted for the simple passive, grants minor protection while slotted. If you don't have Sigil Guild, I really think you should grind it, but if you don't, you could put the Morph Remembrance, basically whenever you cast a skill, you get major protection for 10 seconds. What you could do is if you do cast a skill even for half a second, you can just cancel it early and you'll still have 10 seconds of major protection when you cancel it. So that's pretty good. I just recommend Temporal Guard. Now you might be saying, Hex, well, don't you get minor protection, you know, while you use your Age of Spear abilities? Well, yeah, you do, which is really nice. The thing is, when you're getting zerged over, you're not going to be casting this every 6 seconds. It's not going to happen. You shouldn't. You're going to get bursted. You're going to get off your back bar. You're not going to have as much defense. You're going to get deleted. Just having that when you're getting extra pressured is just very nice. Always very nice. All right, but enough of that mouthful. Let's go over the stat sheets now. Alright, so for our stat sheets, we're going to pop a simple tripod. Either pot works. You can either have the crown tripods or you can craft them yourself. They all do the exact same, so let's pop that and let's go to our stat sheets. So max mag over 16.5k, beautiful. Max health over 32.5k, now that's lovely. And our max damage is 22.2k, which is very, very good. Now our mag recov is 1210. This might look a little low, but we do have our CP passive that it does increase our mag and stam recov by an extra 150. And our stam recov is at 1700. Might look low, but you have to realize we basically have a rune that also gives us stamina back. And we also have our heal that gives us 1000 mag and stam back every time. So like if I swap here, look at my stuff. Look at it, goes up. Like we have great sources of sustain on the build. If you are running Honor the Dead, you will just get more. And for our offensive set, we're actually going to go to PvP for this because we do have a set that only procs in PvP. I'm pretty sure you can already tell what that is. Alright, so now we're in PvP. Basically, the same things still apply. So basically, we're going to cast our tripod. We're going to hit our jabs, and we're going to hit our Living Dark or Power of the Light. You can hit it like a Mud Crab with Power of the Light to proc it. And let's proc our back bar set. I think we all know what back bar set that is. So our spell damage is almost 6,200. Wowzers in the you know what. So our spell crit, basically all we need to do if you are running Camo Hunter, be simple. All you gotta do is basically go up to Disney's this little knife little thing over here. Still called again. Daisy knife. Hit the target. Bam. And now our weapon and spell crit is over 27.4%. That is actually very nice. And now let's go over the Battle Orc stat sheets. Everybody wants to see it. Take that mud crap. Ooh! Our spell damage is over 6,900 and our penetration is over 25.6k. That is over 34k once we have major and minor breach on the target. And our physical and spell resist on our back bar, let's just buff it up real quick. All you gotta do is pop your armor buff and your vigor. 28.5k spell resist and 27.8k physical resist. And our crit resist is 3762. That is 57% damage reduction from the bonus damage of crits. So if someone has 75% bonus damage from crits, typically most Night Blades will have anywhere between 75 to an extra 100. We're basically reducing their damage by a lot, basically. We're only going to be taking 25% bonus damage at best, if any. And for attributes, we do have 24 points in health and 40 points in stamina. I felt this was good. If you are running Death Dealers, you could put 1 point in the health or more into stamina. For the food, simple Jewels and Mistral, same Jewels and Mistral is perfectly fine. And for the Mundus, I thought it's up to the... So if you are running... So if you are running Healing Soul, I recommend that you run the Atro. If you are running, let's say you aren't running that skill and you are running Honor the Dead. If you are running Honor the Dead, then go the Serpent. For my build, I should be running the Atro. I don't know why I swapped back to the Serpent, like testing some stuff out. So if you are running Honor the Dead, the Serpent. If you are running the Scribing skill, Healing Soul, then go the Atronach. You really do need the Atro on this build if you are running Living Soul. And obviously we are a stage 3 vampire for one simple passive. Undeath. The lower health we are, the tankier we become. And I know next patch, update 43, Undeath is getting nerfed from 30% to 10%. However, you only need to be stage 1. So next patch, we are going to be stage 1. And this build will probably work very well in the next patch. So next patch, if you are watching this, update 43, go to only stage 1 and have Undeath. You only need to be stage 1 and it only gives you 10%. I still feel like it's still going to be enough to justify you just need extra tankiness since everyone's going to be doing more damage next match. And for my race, I am an Imperial. I feel like Imperial is hands down the best stam race out there. We get to the tough, the most max health from a racial passive. Imperial Metal increases our max stam by 2k. Basically just a bigger pool to play with. And the best of them all, Red Diamond reduces the cost of all our abilities by 6%. Our Magicka, health, stamina, even our ultimates cost 6%, and our core combat abilities cost less. What does that mean? Roll dodge, CC break, bashing, sneak it for whatever reason you're doing that, all cost 6% less. So this basically almost nullifies the fact that we're a stage 3 vampire. Next patch in update 43, this is basically going to nullify that we're a stage 1 vampire. Obviously, some great alternatives. Orc would probably be one of the best races out there. You get a lot of weapon spell damage, a lot of health, a lot of stam. You just don't get sustain, but you do get a nice heal. Khajiit always works on every class. Like, it's universally the best race in the game. And don't sleep on Wood Elf. I feel like Wood Elf is a sleeper. You could be Nord. Nord is also really good. You could be Dark Elf. Dark Elf wouldn't be too bad. Anything else I'd kind of stay away from. Argonian, I guess, could work maybe. I'm not too sure. Anything else, just stay away from it. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go to sets now. Alright, so let's go over the sets now. So the first set we do run is tried and true Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry is the best set in the entire game. You might be saying, Hex, why can't you run anything else? Because it is the best set in the game. You need tankiness this patch. If you are fighting outnumbered, you need tankiness. You are going to get deleted this patch. Damage is just through the roof. Too many Tarnish Gankers. Too many Gankers these patch. Too many of the Asylum Tarnish like, there's just too much pressure. Basically, the 2 to 4 piece, you know, 2 lines of crit already got me sold. An extra line of mag, not great on our build, but still, it still makes up for that 5 piece. You will never get this amount of damage and this amount of tankiness from a set that's back barrable. While Battle Spirit is active, basically anytime you can kill a player, Battle Spirit is active. Critically healing yourself or an ally makes you shoot out a buff around you, which affects allies and yourself, gaining up to 300 weapon and spell damage and 1650 crit resist. That's 25% damage reduction from the bonus damage of crits. Very nice difference. This actually does start adding up, especially with all those gankers. Plus, when you start stacking Undeath with it, you become very, very tanky. Even next patch, when Undeath does get a small nerf, I think we'll still keep stage 1 Vampire for the Undeath. So yeah, this is why we run it. Plus, you can also put it to allies for reduced potency. So if you're playing with a buddy or a few buddies, you can all get this weapon of spell damage. So if you hit 2 allies, like if you say you're 2vxing and you hit your ally, you're giving him 285 and you're getting 285 weapon spell damage. That's almost 600 extra weapon spell damage between the both of you. You see how this can get? You add a third person here. You're getting almost over 850 extra weapon spell damage between all of you, and that's before modifiers. After modifiers, you're easily pushing like 1200 extra weapon spell damage between all of you. So that's extra damage. You're also making him tankier. This buff lasts for 20 seconds, plus it has a 15-second cooldown. You can easily keep 100% uptime with this. So yeah, this set is just beautiful. It's like it's extra damage and it double dips into our tankiness, because not only are we getting more weapon spell damage for heals, we're also getting crit resist. Like, you're never gonna find a set better than this that's back barrable with 100% uptime. It's not gonna happen, I'm sorry. So if it's good, we're gonna run it. And for the monster set, we do run the powerhouse that is Battle Orcs. I mean, Battle Orcs is the go-to monster set. If you want damage, you run Battle Orcs. Being able to get to 500 weapon spell damage and over 11k penetration should be a no-brainer, because when you drop your ultimate, that's it. You're committing to the kill, and this just amplifies it. The weapon spell damage is nice. It's just icing on the cake. The main thing is you get that penetration. But this build, we'd be pushing over like 35k penetration, which is basically true damage on people. We'll be overpenning, and in PvP, there's no such thing as overpenning. If I'm overpenning you, you're dying. You're getting deleted, okay? You're getting deleted. And the thing about this, it lasts for 12 seconds. So let's say I go for a combo for like 5 or 6 seconds, I catch someone off guard. Now I get pressured, I can go to my back bar, and all that extra weapon and spell damage will actually carry over to my back bar to shoot my burst heals even further, my haunts kill. It's just a crazy monster set. Obviously, if you don't have this for whatever reason, there are a few alternatives I will quickly go over. Let's see. Energy Guardian is always fun. Selines could be pretty trolly. They actually buffed the 1 piece and now weapon and spell damage, which is really nice. Could be a little trolly. Or probably the best one, obviously, is Blood Spawn. I would recommend getting Blood Spawn. Blood Spawn is perhaps free base game monster setting the entire game. Gives you tankiness, ulti gen to be able to drop more ultis or play defensive. And it makes you tankier, like, come on. And next we do run 1 piece training, because this is a front bar, back bar setup with a mythic. Why 1 piece training? Because we do have 1 slot available, so why not slot training? Gives us the most max health for 1 piece. And the mythic we do run is the new mythic that is taking over Cyrodiil. You've pretty much seen these little rings around everybody. That is obviously the Saint and the Seducer. The Saint and Seducer mythic is perhaps the best mythic in the entire game. And not perhaps, it is the best mythic in the entire game. So basically, while in combat, every 10 seconds, you alternate between these buffs. It's basically kind of like, think of it like trickery, sort of. So you get a buff for 10 seconds, and you get a new buff after 10 seconds, which also puts a minor debuff on the enemy. So if I get a major berserk for 10 seconds, I get 10% damage done. Plus, any enemy within that little circle also gets minor maim, 5% damage reduction. Major resolve is the quote-unquote downside. Every mythic has like a downside marker, and you got to build it right. Sea serpents, you got the snare. Death dealers, you got to build it up. This is the quote-unquote downside, because everyone should have their armor buff. You should never rely on major resolve to be this, because what happens if you proc major berserk? you're gonna get deleted. So Major Resolve, it's not even a downside. If you proc a Major Resolve, cool, it doesn't do anything, but you put Minor Breach to all enemies within that circle. So you basically get 3k armor shot on them. Nice. And the best of them all, Major Force. Increases your critical damage done by 20% and also puts Minor Brittle on targets, increasing their damage taken by 10%. And that's multiplicated. If it was additive, you'd be doing 30% bonus damage with crits. But with damage done and damage taken, this gets increased to 32%. I'm at 31 or 32%. So it actually gets like 1 or 2% extra damage done, which is honestly just ridiculous. Major Evasion, making us take 20% less damage from AoEs. That includes Dawnbreakers, Meteors. What's that one? Tarnished Nightmare is actually an AoE, so this would actually reduce the damage from that. Plus, you also put Minor Vuln on all enemies around you, make them take 5% bonus damage from all sources. And lastly, Major Courage, bro. Like, increasing our weapon and spell damage by 430. That increases our damage and our heals. And we also put Minor Cowardice, reducing the enemy weapon and spell damage by 215. Not only does it reduce their damage done, this also reduces their healing, cuts their coags, their vigors, all gonna get reduced weapon and spell damage, so that's less healing. Whew. Now that was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. So basically, this was like, there really is no downside to this mythic. The only downside is you have to have Gold Road, and if you have Gold Road, the drop rate for this is extremely high. I got every elite on my first try except one of them. The Dolmen one, there's a Dolmen one that took me 3 tries, which took me 5 minutes to get. It has a super high drop rate, so I would recommend grinding it now before they nerf that, or they might just keep it like that so you can buy Gold Road. So much pay to win in this patch. And for our last step, we do run my baby, Shattered Fate. We finally tried out Shattered Fate on the StamPlar, and oh my lamball, was this shredding, people. So this set, while you have 5 pieces active, you get almost 8k penetration. Like if I go to my back bar, I get nothing. I get no penetration, I get no weapon spell damage, no crit on the back bar. You might be saying, Hex, that sounds bad. I thought too. I thought for the longest time that just was not justifiable. But I ran it once, and wow, did this really pay off? So basically, think of this like a Spriggans or a Spinners. The 5 pieces Spriggans and Spinners, but with every 2 to 4 piece being a line of penetration. So basically, 1 piece pen, 2 piece pen, 3 piece pen, 4 piece pen, 5 piece pen, plus extra pen on top of the 5 piece, because you gotta love pen, right? So this basically makes you do almost true damage to targets. The closer you can get an enemy to 0 armor, the more damage you're doing, because in PvP, penetration is key. I did try out Deadly, and I swapped to Shattered Fate, and I'm never taking Shattered Fate off. Like, now there are alternatives. Obviously, the best alternative, probably the best set in the entire game, which I despise with my entire life, is Tarnished Nightmare. Tarnished Nightmare is perhaps the best set in the game. It's just 2 cheeses for me. If you want to run it, go ahead. It's there. Whether you run Shattered Fate or Tarnished, this is how you would run it. So we do run a Shattered Fate Mace with an Azure Stamina enchant. Good for the stamina system, mostly there to be able to proc Minor Breach. And Nirnhone, please on the main hand, make it Nirnhone, it makes a difference. And on the offhand, we do run a Shattered Fate Mace or Tarnished Mace, up to you, with a poison damage enchant. Basically, we have a form of Minor Vuln from Elisus or from our Mythic. Poison basically does damage, and it puts a dot on them that does execute damage when they're below 50% health, which is very, very nice. Plus Sharpen, because in PvP, penetration is keen, like I said. On the back bar, we do run a Rallying Cry Ice Staff. Please use an Ice Staff. Not only are we getting block cost reduction, we're also putting Elisus on the target for free and putting Minor Brittle on them. And for the enchant / poison, we do put a poison here. You can put an Absorb Stamina or Absorb Magicka. It's honestly up to you, or you could put a weapon and spell damage enchant up to you. Honestly, these is up to you, whatever you feel. If you feel like you need more mag sustain, Absorb Magicka poison. Or if you feel like you need more stam sustain, and Absorb Stam Drain poison. Or if you feel like you just want more damage or more heals, weapon and spell damage will be perfectly fine. And obviously for our trait, defending, because tankiness is next to godliness. And for the body, we do run the typical 3-3-1. 3 heavy, 3 medium, 1 light. So we do run a heavy Balor's Helm, heavy chest of Shattered Fate, heavy shoulders of Balor's, light sash of Rallying Cry, medium hands of Trainee, medium legs and feet of Shattered Fate. And for the enchants, if you can, tri-set all the pieces. And if you can't do that, tri-set the big pieces. What I mean by that is head, chest, and legs. And if you can't do that, max stam is perfectly fine. Just adjust your health attributes at the end. And for traits, obviously we do run the typical seal of approval hex traits. 6 M-Pen, 1 reinforced. Yes, that's what I run on every build. The only reinforced I have is a heavy chest of the Shattered Fate reinforced. and the rest impen. Now if you want some more well fitted or some more heavy reinforced pieces, go ahead. That's what I like about builds. We fit to our playstyle and our preference. I might be saying full impen with rallying cry, aren't you overcapped? No, there is no such thing as overcap on impen in PvP, just like there is no overpenetrating in PvP. So everyone at base has 20% crit damage reduction, right? We all know that. So the thing is, at base, players will do 50% bonus damage from crits at base. So with all this impen and rallying cry, we have 57% damage reduction from crits. Now you're saying, Hex, that's over 7%. The thing is, Nightblades have a passive, Templars have a passive that makes them do 10% bonus damage with crits. Everyone's running a race against time, so that's 10%, so that's already got there. Plus there's sets, there's the shadow, there's CP, there's axes. See, there's so many ways to bump up crit damage that you're never going to hit overcap. And I'd rather be tanky, because there's been many times where I get ganked off my mount and I survive with literally 100 health. If I did not run full impen, I was going to die. There is no right or wrong way, it's obviously to you. Obviously, if you run more well fitted, you have more stance sustain and roll dodge more, and you're able to dodge more, but it's personally up to you. And for the jewelry, we do run the Saint and Seducer necklace because it only comes in a necklace, duh. And double rings of Rallying Cry. All three with infused weapon and spell damage. They can either grant mag or stam recap. It's so minimal, you'll never see the difference. And that's pretty much it. You could run Bloodthirsty. I really do like infused because not only does it affect our damage, it also double dips into our back bar heals. Plus we get more increased spell damage as a Templar, which Bloodthirsty does not get affected by 20%, 10%, or 6% extra weapon and spell damage. So that's why I went that. So if you do feel like you need a little bit more recov, you could like recraft the Saint and Seducer and just make it Bloodthirsty and keep that default enchant, because at default it comes with the try reduce cost. So that would be very helpful if you just need that little bit of extra sustain without losing too much damage. But full infuse is perfectly fine. I mean, this was just beautiful. Hits really hard and you heal so much. And for the food, we do run simple Jewels of Mistral. Saying that purple food is perfectly fine. Gives us a lot of max health and recov of everything. And for our pots, like I said earlier, simple tripods. Gives us a burst of health, mag, and stam, and recov of everything. You can either craft them yourself or you can use the crown tripods. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the CP now. Alright, so the blue CP, we do run Focus Mini. Increases our healing done with single target heals. This basically affects almost all our heals. Our Living Dark, if you're running that. The Rune heal also gets affected. Vigors and our heal, whether you run Honor the Dead or Healing Soul, they all get affected by this. The only one that doesn't is the Purify Ring, unfortunately. Next is Master at Arms. Increases our damage done with direct damage attacks. That includes our light attacks, that includes our jabs, and our Dawnbreaker initial hit. Next, we do run Ironclad. Reduces damage taken from all direct damage attacks. And Untamed Aggression. Increases our weapon and spell damage by 150. And for the red CP, typical seal of approval red hex CP. Celerity increases our movement speed by up to 10%. Honestly, in my opinion, the best CP in the entire game. Survival Instincts, while afflicted with a status effect, your core combat skills cost 25% less. Pain's Refuge, the more negative effects we have acted on, the tankier we become. And Sustained by Suffering, while afflicted with a negative effect, which in PvP you're always going to be afflicted with a negative effect, you get 150 mag health and stamina recovery, which is increased by our potions and our miners and all that. So basically you keep pushing over 200 easily with this. And for the green CP, doesn't ever really matter. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Steed's Blessing. Oops, no, Steed's Blessing, there you go. But obviously, if you are strapped for CP, the only one that does matter is Breakfall. That's the only one that will actually affect you in PvP. If you can get that, work into Steed's Blessing, and then work into Liquid Efficiency, and that's pretty much all you need. But alright, cool beans, that's the build. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Honestly, I'm loving StamPlar way over my Magplar. I thought Magplar was good, but I felt like since everybody has so much high spell resist, I felt that Stam was just better because typically people have way less physical resist than they do spell resist. So I was just shredding people with the amount of penetration on this build. I was just doing true damage. If Divines forbid, if I drop a 500 battle arcs, I was deleting somebody from the server, like just instantly done. Hope you guys did enjoy it. We are getting back to the build videos. If you guys can, please like the video. It really goes a long way. Greatly to appreciate it. Also follow me on my Twitch. This is where all the raw gameplay comes. So if you guys ever want to see more of just gameplay, which raw gameplay, go over to my Twitch where I answer all your questions. I do try to answer them in the comments down below, but with the way I try to word it and see if you guys understand, like it gets a little hectic, and I feel like people won't understand what I'm trying to say. Also, it supports me over there too. Also, if you guys want to become a member of the channel, where you guys can get build videos early, you guys get to vote for the first video of every month. It really supports me financially over there. But as always, hope you guys did enjoy the build video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts and experience with the build. Also, anything I might have missed out, what video I should do next. Subscribe for more. But most importantly, stay Zergan. Oh, these just are relentless. You're back already, dude? Swagger Dad, what's up, bro? We're in a sweaty 2v3 and these guys just keep getting bodied and bodied and keep coming back and back, bro. It's pretty funny. Oh, I missed the Donnie, bro. If I hit that one piece, that either way.